So I'm sure most of us watching here have some basic survival gear in our vehicles, but have you thought about items you should keep in your glove box? Well, today I'm going to go over 10 items you should keep in your glove box and the reason why they should be up there, as well as one bonus item when we come back. All right, folks, welcome back. So really quickly, I want to explain to you why these should be in your glove box and not necessarily, or in your center console, anywhere where they're accessible to you in the front of your vehicle, and not necessarily in a bug-out bag or a pack in your trunk or hidden away somewhere where you can't access them. Now, let's say, for example, you're in a car accident and you get rear-ended. You got a pretty bad gash on your leg that's bleeding pretty badly. Well, having a first aid kit with a tourniquet there, right where you can get at it, is really going to help you instead of having to get out of your car bleeding all over the place, possibly not even making it to the back of your vehicle. Let's say same thing happens. You're in a car accident and you need to get your gloves out, to do some heavy duty work. Well, you're going to rip your hands up, tearing apart all that twisted metal to open your trunk. So that is the reason why I feel some of this stuff should be kept within your access in front somewhere of your vehicle. Now, the first thing we're going to add here is a flashlight. Okay, and that just goes without saying. These are the two I keep in my vehicle. This one's actually in my door. Okay, I don't keep it in my my glove box. And this is an older Olight, okay, the Freyer. Now, why do I like this? Well, it's extremely bright, but it's got a neat feature. If I have to direct people around where I am, I turn on the red light. Oops, let it turn back on. I put this on here, and I can direct people away from accidents, damage, whatever. In a heartbeat, I hit that button. I'm good to go. It's extremely bright, right? Now, in the dark, on a deserted road, you don't want to get out of your car if your car stalls or there's a problem and fall into a ravine and twist your ankle and add to the problem you already have. So that's why I keep a flashlight always. And if it's dark out and I have to get out of my vehicle, it's on my person. Again, I always carry one, but it's handy to have a bigger, brighter one in your vehicle. And this is a dual purpose as well. I also keep a headlamp because that allows you to work on things with your hands free. You're not holding the light while you're trying to change a tire or whatever. So I keep a headlamp in there too. This is a Nevo Rebel, older flashlight, works very, very well. So that's number one. Number two, a first aid kit. And I would suggest you tailor this first aid kit more towards a trauma kit with a few of your own personal things in it that you might want. Like, do you take a certain pain reliever? Do you like a certain antacid, whatever? You keep it near you at all times. That way you're always ready to grab at it if you have to pull off and take one. But the trauma kit part of it is you could be severely injured in your vehicle and not be able to get out. So that beautiful, brand new, blowout kit in the back on your bug out bag in the trunk isn't going to do you much good. This is mine here. Okay, and it's in a little roll-up. I actually bought this roll-up for 25 cents at the Goodwill. And I basically made and you notice there's another flashlight on it, made a little trauma kit here. I have bleed stop. I have all my regular medications I might take, like pain relievers and stuff in here. I have this little thing of, antacids, Aleve, Primatene tablets, whatever, if I get a bad allergy attack. I even have some quarters in here, and it's kind of archaic because, let's face it, there's not many payphones left. But out here in rural Nevada, you'd be surprised. You'll find a few. All sorts of stuff in here, ready to go. Tourniquet, okay, right on top. This is an SOF tourniquet, ready to go. So that's right in my center console. If I need it, if I get hurt, it's right there. So that is item number two. Item number three, we talked about this a little bit in the intro, gloves, okay? People tend to forget these. They tend to think they don't need them, or they put in like some thin pair of surgical gloves or something like that. There's going to be a lot of glass, debris in a bad accident. If you're helping somebody escape, you witness an accident and you want to jump over and help them break their last of their window out and flatten it out so it's safe for them to get out with a rock or whatever, you're going to need gloves, okay? If you're working on your own vehicle, you're going to need gloves. Very handy. People tend to forget about it, and I always opt for the heavier work gloves, and I actually have used these a couple times. I opt for the heavier work gloves. You can get cut resistant, but these will give you a pretty decent amount of protection. So definitely gloves. Next up, this is kind of a combined thing. 4 and 5, okay, is a seatbelt cutter and a window breaker. Now, first, I'm going to show you what I have, okay? I've had this in all of my vehicles probably for the last, since 2000 or 99. It's a heavy carbide steel window breaker. Now, don't think that you're Mr. Macho and your car is sinking in the water and you're going to be able to break that window. You're not. Or if you're trapped inside and there's smoke building in the cabin, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to need something heavy, okay? And that's why I have this. I also have a seatbelt cutter on it. It used to have a working flashlight. Not so much anymore. I don't know if I've changed the batteries out probably. As a matter of fact, that's a good thing that I'll do after I'm done doing this video. It did have a flashlight on it, and more flashlights are always handy. But its main goal, and I used to actually have this mounted in my one of my trucks, but now I just have it in the glove box, and as you can tell, it's kind of dirty, is just for breaking a window out. That's my main thing with this. It does have the seatbelt cutter on the end there, but that's my main goal. I also, in my case, carry a pocket knife that I really like. It's kind of a cheapy pocket knife, but it's actually pretty darn good. This is a SEMA, and of course it's got a nice blade on it, but it's got the seatbelt cutter and a carbide tip. So I could break my way out of my window just simply by pulling this out of my pocket and pop that right there. So that's my everyday carry pocket knife. Kind of, you know, you would think with all the knives I have that are so expensive, I'd carry a more expensive one. This one does the job. I can sharpen it up nice and sharp, and it's got those handy two tools. So definitely something like that. You want to be able to break out that window in an emergency if you're stuck in it, all right? And you want to be able to cut off that seatbelt. A lot of people think a seatbelt cutter isn't necessary. Oh, I'll just reach down and grab it. Some of these vehicles have electric seatbelt stuff, and you can't take it off, and you can't unhook it. Get yourself a seatbelt cutter. It may not seem all that effective when you try it on a piece of paracord, but let me tell you something. You hook that around a seatbelt and give it a good yank, it'll cut it right open. Same with this guy. So that's number 4 and 5. All right, this one's going to freak people out. Number 6. No, I'm not a mask person. A face mask, and this isn't for the virus, okay? Face masks are essential for protecting yourself from fumes, airborne contaminants during emergencies. Just think about how many people, got sick after the terrorist attacks of September 11th and from breathing in all the toxins in the air. I can tell you, being there in December of 2001, it stunk. It was bad. I was only there for a day, basically just kind of paying my respects and touring the site. And it was bad. And there was literally all the way, if you know New York City, all the way up to Canal Street, just thick layers of dust everywhere. And that's blowing around and you're breathing that in. Okay. Now I have a bigger one back there. It was just what I pulled out of my storeroom. It's an N100, but an N95 is fine. A nice folded small face mask. You could even probably stick it in your first aid kit. Very handy for being in an environment where there's a lot of chemicals and mega bad stuff, I forget exactly. We were trained in our CERT class by an ex-firefighter, and he had some like hydrochloro bad S. Well, So you definitely want something like that to protect yourself. All right, number 7, a multi-tool. If I had to rush out of my car quickly and grab one item, it would be my multi-tool. It's got knives, screwdrivers, scissors, all the tools on it, and I could significantly increase my chances of survival in any SHTF situation. Though I will say you should probably keep it in your glove box. You probably want to keep something like this a little bit closer. Okay, maybe you can even carry one every day. I have a nice little example here that lives in my glove box. This is my next tool. This is an awesome little kit. It does have carbide tip replacement for the cutters, as you can tell there. This is an awesome little guy. It does have scissors on it. It has a decent knife on it too. This will double as a striker, this saw. So if you have a ferro rod, you can strike it with. Decent sized knife on it. You can actually do some cutting and very, very sharp. So always some kind of decent multi-tool. All right, number 8. Actually, 2 things again. A road map and a compass. Don't get spoiled by GPS, all right? Let me tell you something. Learn how to use a road map, or at least learn how to look at it and understand what's going on. This one lives under my seat in my front of my vehicle, actually kind of in the side of the seat. And it's old. It's seen better days, but I can see wherever I'm going. It's got a big thing as well as the actual map on the inside here. And I mean, this was a freebie. They just gave these things away locally. See, you got a decent map in there. All right. And a compass. Now, when I say a compass, you can get whatever you want. This happens to be a military Kamenga compass. It's a little more complicated. But if you get a compass, just have a basic knowledge of how it works and understand what you're doing with it. You may really want to eventually someday take a class and understand how you can use something like this. This is kind of neat. You can kind of get your angle and your declination and all that fun stuff with it. You can use it on a map to measure distances. So it is kind of a handy device, but a basic compass is fine. I keep this one in my center console just in case I ever get lost and need it. GPS systems will fail. Nothing beats a good old standard paper road map for navigation. Also, it's a fun way to build your skills if you learn how to do it, and you can kind of take yourself out somewhere where you don't know where you are and use the map to get yourself home. Coming from that era where I still remember when I was a little kid, we'd all pile into the 1970s wood-paneled station wagon, with the fake wood paneling on it, and Mom would sit up front and read the map, and Dad would drive. So I have a basic understanding of how maps work. I've watched them being used when I was younger. I've used them myself, so I kind of get it. If you've never used a map before, learn how to use it. Heck, you can even use Google Maps and kind of understand what you're doing. You can map out a road trip. Maybe if you're going, to the next city over, map it out on the road trip and print it out and use it like a map in your hand. But don't get distracted while you're driving. All right, number 9. Because of varying state laws about concealed firearms and other issues with keeping your gun in your glove compartment, well, I think it's an excellent idea if you do have a concealed carry permit to carry your gun with you at all times. I'm going to suggest some pepper spray. Okay. Now I have 2 types. One is my everyday, I just keep it in the handle and right next to the flashlight in the door, where there's a little slot there. This is just regular strength, maximum strength pepper gel. Pepper gel's a little bit harder to get off you. This also has UV dye in it, so that if I spray somebody and they run away, clean up, and 2 hours later the cops find them and say, "No, it wasn't me, man. You just shine a UV light in their face and boom, there it goes." So this is my everyday. This is I know I'm going into somewhere where there's potentially trouble. Not that I do that, but if I have to go somewhere where I know there's going to be a problem, we saw with a lot of the protests in 2020, the big thing was take innocent people, jump all over their cars and block the roadways and then smash their windows. Well, you smash my window, you get in the face full of bear spray. Again, you don't necessarily always want to shoot somebody or kill somebody. Sometimes you just want them to get away from you. And having these 2 types of tools, and this again is my everyday in the car thing, is handy for that. Very, very handy. All right, number 10, and this has lived in my, let's see, at least 4 different cars that I've had. This very one, Poncho, okay? Raincoat's all fine and great in the back of your trunk and your bug-out gear and everything, but what good is it if you can't get to it? If it's pouring rain out and you're dressed all nice and you got to go somewhere, take a poncho, throw it in there. These actually work very well. I bought a couple of these a while back. It's so old that it's from Big 5 Sporting Goods, and I haven't shopped in a Big 5 until this one opened locally here, but I haven't shopped in a Big 5 in, God, I want to say years, and then one opened locally here. So I actually bought this in California, and these will work pretty well. They'll keep you dry. You just throw it over you, get in there, and it'll keep you nice and dry. Really handy. You don't want to get wet because then you get cold, then you get sick, and, in a survival situation, that can lead to some pretty serious consequences. So, with all that said, those are the 10 items. I'm going to give you my bonus item. This isn't obviously something you're going to stick in your glove compartment unless you got a really big glove compartment, but you do want to keep it either under your seat or up close near to you in the front of your vehicle, and that is a fire extinguisher. That is the one I have in my vehicle. It is mounted on the side. I'm able to grab it and put out any fires that I may have to. I've never had to use it, luckily, thankfully. But if you keep it in your trunk and you're stuck inside your vehicle and the engine is on fire and the firewall is not so much of a firewall anymore, this is definitely an awesome way to grab it really, really quickly, get it out, get to it, and be done with it. Also helps you grab it if you're helping somebody else. If you come across somebody on the side of the road whose car is on fire and they're desperately trying to get out, and thanks to all the modern electronic systems, you can break a window with this thing. You can break the window and pull them out. Anyway, folks, those are my ideas for 10 survival items that should be in your glove box, plus the one bonus item. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out all our links down below. We have our Amazon affiliate store. If you guys are interested in helping out the channel, just shop using that link. I do have all the gear that I use in the channel and a lot of stuff that I reviewed in there. Below that is our freeze-dried wholesalers link. Don't forget to check that out, guys. We got that roast beef sale going on right now. If you're watching the video 2 months from now, it's over, of course, but right now the roast beef sale is going on, 20% discount on it. Below that is our My Patriot Supply link. That's preparewithiridium.com, preparewithiridium.com. My Patriot Supply has some awesome stuff for you to check out. Really good deals on some long-term survival food and survival gear. And of course, my Thrive Life freeze-dried food store. Definitely check them out as well. I thank you guys for joining me today. Stay safe and stay prepared.